Hey guys, let's get into the energy of this weekend. What can we expect? First of all, there's a big Sun Chiron square that is building in the sky this weekend that will come exact next week. This is likely to be sort of producing a feeling of emotional rawness, maybe some like internalized vulnerability, some old wounds that we're kind of hyper focused on over this next couple days coming up. But this energy also is trying to promote our ability to gain a greater sense of healing and release somehow. We are in a 2-week window right now that has a lot to do with helping us to finally move on from some things that have been in some way stifling our growth. Over the course of the past year and a half, we've been going through this process. It's coming to a conclusion as this next couple of weeks, heading towards the new moon in Cancer unfolds, and the energy this weekend is trying to help us heal and facilitate a process of emotional release that is assisting in this greater process that is happening over the course of the next 2 weeks as we prepare for a rebirth in some area of our lives, because that is what is coming next, and that is what is coming with the new moon in Cancer that is coming up. So for this weekend, we have a Sun Chiron square. We also have a Mercury Neptune trine in the sky. We need to stay out of states of victimhood, and we need to be able to surrender to a higher plan, to our spiritual connection, to the faith and the trust that we are moving in the right direction, and release ourselves on an emotional level from the things that we intuitively know are blocking our ability to move forwards towards this rebirth process. So we've got a lot happening energetically this weekend, a very emotional weekend. Let's get into our report for the weekend. Let's talk about this energy in a little bit more detail, perhaps what it may indicate for us in our experience as this energy unfolds. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Friday, July 7th, 2023. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the weekend, where we are narrating the shift of the ages. On this channel, we are looking at the astrology as it's coming together on a daily basis in the context always of this grand unfolding transition into the age of Aquarius that is currently underway as well. So we're looking at the daily activations in terms of what those are actually doing to contribute to the greater overall process of this transition of ages that is simultaneously underway. And this weekend, like I said, we are in the process of wrapping up a significant karmic detox that has been a 1.5 year long process that is actually fundamental and imperative and crucial in terms of this greater collective energetic frequency-based shift into the age of Aquarius. This past 1.5 years has been doing a lot to detach us on these deep emotional, psychological, and even to the point of like cellular based levels, generationally and karmically, and detach us from patterns and cycles that have been in any way keeping us separated from our authentic self, from our true purpose, and from being able to move through life in a way that truly like activates our higher destiny and helps us to come into a conscious union with our higher selves and become a much more significant collaborator and co-creator of our reality and of our experiences from the conscious plane moving forward. Because the age of Aquarius, this is an age of self-mastery. This is an age of self-knowledge, self-enlightenment, and ultimately co-creation with God and universe from a much more conscious plane. It's known as, the Great Awakening is upon us. And Uranus is the ruler of the sign of Aquarius. Uranus is the planet that rules awakening as well. So the hero's journey, which we always talk about on this channel, which is related to the Chiron archetype, which is the process of transmuting and alchemizing our states of victimhood into self-mastery, as well as the more commonly referred to and well-known process of self-actualization. Both of these are kind of synonymous for the same process. That is the crucial process that helps us to actually shift our own frequency and vibration. And as we do this individually in response to these frequency-based changes that are happening in the transits and the activations that are happening now, we align our frequency to match these age of Aquarius new paradigm frequencies that are coming in. And the more of us over time, there's a very significant buffer in between ages. This is a multi-100-year process, but the more of us over time are able to go through this transmutation alchemy process and elevate our frequencies in this more consciously aware state, the more humanity acts as a catalyst and a bridge, as well as above so below, to this new age that is coming in. And we do our part to create the age of Aquarius in the physical world, in the 3D world, as a mirror reflection of the energetic activations that are the catalyst for that process. So as we're moving through this period of time, and like I said, this is a couple 100-year spans, but we are really in the thick of it right now, and to the point where we can see how a year and a half is playing a significant role tangibly in our physical world in moving us forward into this new energy. And the more we move forward, the more we will be able to see how these activations are actually so significant, and as we look back, what comes to have passed. I hope you guys are following me. I've kind of been like way up there for the past couple of minutes, but I think you are. I'm sure you are. Anyways, where we're at now in the final 2 weeks, this full moon, if you guys caught my full moon in Capricorn video, that full moon was marking the last 2 weeks, and full moons are about release and illumination and revelations and exposure as well. The last 2 weeks of this 1.5-year long karmic detox process that has been trying to help us detach on a soul level from anything that has been toxic to us, or that has been keeping us blind to the truth of our value or the truth of our worth, or that has been causing us to surrender any sense of like our own personal power out of any sense of internalized lack, because we're not seeing ourselves and our potential for like who we truly are and how valuable and beautiful that truly is. Well, that is the lesson of the North Node in Taurus, and gaining this internalized sense of worth and value and self-love and purpose and resource. That is what universe has sort of been forcing us to look at throughout the past 1.5 years, or making so extreme the circumstances that are preventing us from seeing that we come to a point where we have no choice but to finally separate ourselves from that source root of the problem. And this 2 weeks is finalizing that. And here we go this weekend with a Sun Chiron square that's building, and simultaneously a Mercury Neptune trine. Mercury is also forming a sextile to Uranus, and these two aspects are being enhanced by the presence of the moon transiting both the sign of Pisces, where it will form a conjunction to Neptune while in trine to Mercury, and also a conjunction to Chiron while in square to the sun. Now, I will say, in the grand scheme of things, like the way the energy has been going lately, this weekend is pretty anticlimactic in terms of big activations and big energies hitting. It could be sort of more of like a low-key, low-vibe weekend. There may not be like a whole bunch of stuff that's going on. We may feel sort of like detaching ourselves from reality to some extent, kind of like escaping into a meditation or a daydream, getting caught also in our feelings with the moon in the sign of Pisces and Mercury and Neptune coming into a trine, talking about our feelings, releasing our feelings, this emotional release. Neptune is also retrograde right now, and Neptune rules illusions and delusions. And with Neptune retrograde, this is also a sense for us to sort of like mentally see where perhaps maybe we've been operating under some type of an illusion or some type of a delusion. This is an opportunity actually for us to maybe snap out of it on a mental level, in terms of maybe being overly idealistic or fantasizing about something as well, with this simultaneous aspect to Uranus going on. But it is, as we move into the energy of next week, things are going to shift dramatically. And this weekend, it really just is all about maybe like forcing us to feel our feelings, to think about our feelings, to figure out maybe what we've been attaching to on an emotional level, maybe that we didn't realize was affecting us to the level that it was. Or again, at the end of the day, it's all about the release. It's all about letting it out. It's all about like, and then choosing whether we're going to perpetuate the state of victimhood associated with whatever, we may have been holding on to, or if we're going to let it go and we're going to surrender to the new beginnings that are coming to us, instead of clenching on and like gripping on and staying so attached to the past as in terms of also the way that it had defined us. We have the North Node preparing to enter the sign of Aries. The sign of Aries, this is the sign of the self. This is about like being independent and being the pioneer, and it's about expressing ourselves in some very real and true and authentic ways, and standing up for ourselves also, and being more assertive and playing more of a leadership role, having more courage to be more independent and self-directed. And also, it's energy that is going to be insisting really that we recreate ourselves in one area of our lives or in some context of our own reality. So as this energy is coming through this weekend, you know, if we do have these feelings coming up, and we're talking about Chiron. Chiron is the energy that brings up, it's the wounded healer, teacher, master archetype. It brings up our wounding. It makes a lot of times that like the central focus. And with the sun there in the square, this is like a sense of discomfort or irritation or frustration or like internalized conflict that we're dealing with being brought up because of these wounds. With the sun in the sign of Cancer, this could have to do with home, family, early childhood, issues with the mother, issues with children. And when we're dealing with Chiron in the sign of Aries, this could also be like old wounds or traumas that have affected our sense of self or our own self-perception or our own sense of personal capability and internalized strength and willpower or something. So these type of issues could sort of be coming up, and the centralized connector could have something to do with an old wound or where we've been hurt in the past, or again, like these states of victimhood that maybe we've been attached to and defining ourselves by. With Chiron transiting the sign of Aries, this is how have my wounds, how do I define myself by my wounds, and how do the wounds that I've experienced impact my ability to be assertive, to be motivated, to have willpower, to do new things, to, you know, journey out, to seize the day, to stand on my own 2 feet, to be my own champion, you know what I mean? To stand up for myself, to stand my ground. And what wisdom have I learned, have I gained through what I've been through that I can now apply to help myself rediscover myself, reconnect to myself, be re-inspired by my own ambitions, by my own passions, and, you know, have the internalized sense of personal support in and of myself and personal strength in and of myself to take a risk, to start something new, to go in a new direction, like to do something new and fresh maybe that I've never done before, to gain a new experience in some type of way. So we're recreating ourselves moving forward. We're on the brink and the precipice of something brand new that is coming to us, a new phase of life really, once we get to the new moon and Cancer cycle, because that is the day where the North Node and the South Node will also shift into the Aries and Libra polarities. But for now, we are in the energy, like I said, sort of letting it all out, and it's up to us whether we're going to let this release like purify us on that soul level and, you know, surrender to the feelings and allow ourselves to be purified and cleansed, or whether we're going to allow it to be an opportunity for us to sort of wallow in our own misery and to like avoid and escape the lessons in the work with Saturn and Pisces also retrograde that we're supposed to be doing right now as well. So emotional release all the way around this weekend. It is, like I said, a bit of an anticlimactic energy weekend. While Mercury and Neptune will come into exact trine, this is not any type of like bang, bang, wow energy. It is, and I'll talk about more what this energy is good for as we get through this report. But the Sun Chiron square, like I said, does not come exact until next week. So this is a building energy, but this is a powerful building energy, and it's likely to, we're likely to be feeling it. So if you do find yourself sort of maybe like caught up in just some lower vibe energy, maybe like feeling a bit like depressed and stuff like that, don't internalize it. We do have Mercury and Neptune in trine. So whenever we have a Neptune aspects going on strong, especially with Mercury, like we're not seeing things truly clearly. We're caught in some type of an illusion. And anywhere we are over identifying with our pain and wounding this weekend, that is actually the illusion. It may be a purposeful illusion. There could be a very important reason why we are, you know, having these feelings, like I said, for this release and for to gain this awareness. However, that does not change that you know, state is not still the true reality. So we need to keep that in mind as well. As I said, we are moving the energy next week. As we get into Monday and Tuesday next week, we're going to get another big blast of energy. Like I said, this month of July is kind of a bit all over the place in terms of energy. We go through these like peaks and valleys where we have like everything going on and like super intense activations, everything happening at once, and then like through these sort of like energetic lulls. And that's what we're doing this weekend. We're sort of like at there's not a whole bunch of like super intense energy that's happening this weekend, but as we get into Monday and Tuesday, that changes, and we're going to go like way back up. We're going to have both Mercury and Mars changing signs. That's going to be huge energetic shifts. Mercury is going to come into a standoff with Pluto. Like, we've just got a lot that's going to be playing out Monday into Tuesday. So expect a lot to be happening at the start of next week. But as for this weekend, again, like, we just may find ourselves now feeling, in the context of this energy, down, disillusioned, like jaded, or just kind of like unimpressed also with things that are playing out somehow, or just kind of like our reality generally. This could be more of a low energy, just wanting to rest, not wanting to think about things, also like a desire to maybe like avoid or escape from any type of uncomfortable conversation. We've got Mercury right now in the sign of Cancer. That is a strong mental focus on like self-soothing and self-care and like just like the home and the family. And Neptune, can be avoidance, and this can be escapism and stuff as well. So anything that is sort of like getting in the way of like our comfort or our ability to engage in like self-care and stuff like that, we may sort of not be wanting to deal with this weekend. And it could also, like I said, like emotional, whenever we're dealing with Chiron, especially the square, especially to the sun, this is raw, this is vulnerable energy. And so we've got that going on as well. Struggling with old wounds related to home, family, mother, inner child, or a sense of personal independence, our ability to stand on our own 2 feet or stand up for ourselves somehow. On one hand, I mean, we've got Mercury ruling polarities forming the trine to Neptune this weekend in the sign of Pisces, which is also a dualistic sign and energy. So there is like a very dualistic nature. There's likely to be like 2 specific polarities along which the energy is playing out this weekend. On one hand, trying to escape from reality, and on the other hand, these feelings like flooding out. Like I said, emotional release is essentially the name of the game and the very important facet of the energy this weekend. And with Mercury in Cancer already, I mean, we got Mercury in Cancer. This is our mind, right? This is what we're thinking about, what we're talking about in the sign related to our feelings, ruled by the moon. So when we have Mercury in the sign of Cancer, we're already being quite consumed by our internal environment, by our feelings. And there could be lots of conversations going on talking about feelings, especially when we add the Sun square Chiron influence, talking about where our feelings have been hurt in the past. Again, like hurt feelings, past wounds, past traumas, how that has impacted our feelings, how that has impacted us now, how that has impacted our home and family now, how that has impacted our sense of self and personal identity and personal independence and stuff like that. And we're not holding back, okay? When we've got trines playing out in the energy, we're not holding back. Self-discipline, I will say, especially with Saturn retrograde in the sign of Pisces, probably lacking this weekend. People are just kind of letting it all hang out. Nobody is really trying to construct things in like a nice, well-packaged way. It's about getting in touch with our emotions and facing some things that have been bothering us, that we've been repressing, that we've been holding back, maybe that we've been in a sense of illusion or fantasy about as well, and finally letting them go. Heal, release, purify. Those are some good keywords for the energy this weekend. Let's talk specifically now about the energy for Friday. Friday, we have the moon transiting the sign of Pisces, and the moon will be forming a trine to the sun and Cancer. This is a harmonious energy, but it's a strong emotional energy. And all weekend, I will say as well, there's a very strong psychic and intuitive, like gut-based, feeling-based, also dreams. Pay attention to your dreams this weekend as well. based energy. The sun also, of course, is moving into the square with Chiron on Friday. Mercury is in a sextile to Uranus and also moving into trine with Neptune. The only thing that's really changing about the energy this weekend is the moon transiting signs. And the moon, like I said, will be transiting through Pisces first and then through Aries, activating all of these transits that we've been talking about because of the Pisces Aries position. So to start the weekend on Friday, the moon is in the earlier degrees of Pisces, where he will be forming the sun, or she will be forming the sun, the trine to the sun. And so that is bringing this very strong emotional energy, but it's a harmonious emotional energy that is helping to facilitate a process of emotional release on some level. But again, old memories could be coming up, triggering wounds. Mercury in the sextile to Uranus, though, this is helping us to shift our viewpoint, helping us to see things differently, and bringing perhaps some unexpected ideas or information that helps us in the process of release somehow. Also, illusions and, Pisces, Mercury, don't make decisions this weekend, you guys. We're likely to be really, really, really caught in our emotions, clouding our judgment. This is not a good weekend for a strong, rational logic. So, and it's never really a good idea to make big decisions based on pure feeling and emotion. So this is not the weekend where you really want to be like signing on the dotted line or something, or jumping into something, making a serious decision or choice or commitment based on an emotion that is coming up in this energy. We kind of want to allow this energy to pass. It brings up both illusions and delusions, fantasies and ideals, daydreams and visions, yes, but also clouded judgment. Strong intuition and feelings are driving our thoughts. We may think that we're being totally rational in this energy, but I bet you anything, once this energy passes, you look back and you're like, I am glad that I didn't execute on that, because I was a little bit of a hot mess. I was a little bit all over the place. My feelings were coloring a lot of my judgment at that period of time. We don't want to slip into the mentality of perpetuating victimhood. Pisces and Neptune can both be an energy about the victim and the martyr. It has to do with loss and sacrifice and stuff like that. We're also, of course, dealing with Chiron, which is fundamentally about inducing states of victimhood, but for the purpose of being transmuted, alchemized, transcended out of, ultimately mastered, and releasing ourselves from that process. But the initial phase of this energy is this victimhood. So the ability to sort of slip into kind of like an all-consuming emotional state associated with victimhood, past wounding, again, like martyr type of situation, or like self-sacrifice and stuff like that, could be a strong urge or a strong tendency, then leading to a desire to escape from or avoid reality in some type of way. Be careful also with like alcohol and drugs and stuff this weekend with this strong Chiron Neptunian influence also. But again, we want to release and express our feelings, and we want to seek spiritual connection, spiritual guidance. As much as there is a tendency in this energy to perpetuate these states of victimhood and be sort of like wallowing in our own misery and stuff like that, to the same extent, these levels of emotional transcendence as a result of a true spiritual connection and spiritual experience, or spiritual assistance and guidance or communication. Mercury trine Neptune, this is facilitated communication with the divine. So we want to choose faith, okay, instead of like escapism and avoidance. If we feel like we're at a place where we're kind of being consumed by the pain, we want to look up instead of like looking away, if that makes sense. We don't want to get also lost in illusions of inadequacy and false perceptions of self. As this comes through with Neptune and Mercury, we could be, again, like our view of ourselves could be quite distorted through our trauma, our wounding, and our pain in this energy. And as a result, our purpose and our potential in the future as well. But this is energy that is seeking to be cleared, again, on these very deep levels, and it could just have us perhaps, not feeling so great as this energy unfolds. People could be quite delusional, to be honest with you. It definitely could be a more depressing weekend, more low vibe weekend, but the nature of the energy now like I keep stating, purge, release, purification of the emotional body and the subconscious mind and our deep psychological complexes that have been keeping us attached to a state or a mindset or a belief system or even a physical reality that was extinguishing our own internal flame and preventing us from recognizing our potential and moving towards cultivating and developing that. Because again, in the context of this transition of ages, this greater unfolding cosmic blueprint that is activated right now and where we are at in that specific process, it's very important for all of us to be able to find our purpose, find our potential, and work towards aligning with our destiny, activating destiny, aligning with our higher selves, because that is how this as above, so below, microcosm, macrocosm transition of ages comes into effect and begins to root itself in our 3D reality. When us as our individual, human sparks of life force and creation come to a point where our personal frequency is resonating to the new energy that is coming in, we become sort of like a magnet that is pulling everybody else along that line as well. Because the more we build up the incoming frequency, the more the scale tips that way, the more we're released from the previous paradigm. So, and again, we do that through going through this process of self-actualization, going through our hero's journey, overcoming our states of victimhood, transmuting the pain and the wounding and the trauma within us, healing, releasing, coming to a point where we can actually give thanks for these experiences that may have wounded us in the past because of the ultimate power and wisdom that we gained from them in pursuit of our own personal fulfillment and our own personal destiny. Again, the cornerstone and the fundamental for helping in this transition of ages. So, of course, we may not be feeling all great, all the best as, some of this big Chiron energy unfolds. But that's the purpose of it, and it is purposeful. It is time to let it all out. We need to heal. We need to let some things go in order to be ready to receive and move towards the new beginnings and the rebirths that are literally right around the corner. We're at a major turning point in this year. This month of July is a major turning point in greater spans of time as this is beginning a new 1.5 year long phase of growth, and a new beginning is about to be seeded that is going to be changing things for us dramatically over the course of the next 1.5 years. And again, it has a lot to do with us learning to take back our power, stand on our own 2 feet, be more independent, be more assertive, follow our passions in alignment with our personal truth and our own sense of authentic self, and not be so concerned by the waves that may be made in the wake of us seizing back our authentic truth and purpose. So that's where we're headed, and this is where we're at now. Now let's move into Saturday. Saturday, the moon has continued to move through the sign of Pisces and will come into an exact alignment with Neptune, while we also have Mercury in exact trine to Neptune. So Saturday, you guys, very, very dreamy day. If you're an artist, or if you're a fantasy writer, or if you're engaged in any type of creative activity, divine inspiration literally abounds today. This is not a good day, again, for choices and decisions. This energy definitely limits our rational intellect, but it has a tendency to bring out a very compassionate streak in people. People are very sensitive, empathetic, artistic, creatively, and divinely inspired energy as well. Very, very favorable day for studying or engaging in any type of art, spirituality, or religion, poetry, music, drama, writing, or occult or metaphysical studies or subjects as well. This is also a great day, you guys, and you may find yourself just inherently spending some time on or around water in some capacity. But a lot of people are going to be out on the water, doing things on the water, spending time around water, things related to water for sure. And the energy on Saturday, and also again thinking about and analyzing our feelings, assessing where and how we've been deceived, perhaps. Remember, Neptune is retrograde. Neptune is the illusions and the fantasies and, you know, the daydreams and the visualizations and the ideals and stuff as well. But with Neptune retrograde, this can also be like, how have I not been seeing things clearly? What have I been misunderstanding? What have I been caught in an illusion or a fantasy about? Like, where have I been being deceived? So illusions may be sort of breaking down, and we may be coming to understand on like a deeper or more intuitive level places maybe where things have not been totally honest, or we've been under some type of an illusion as well. Coming clean about something, or saying the truth about something. This could also be either something that we find ourselves feeling compelled to do, or that other people are sort of coming to us with in this energy on Saturday. Great also for like counseling or giving advice. People are really like honestly likely to be coming from a place of truly wanting to help. There's a very like altruistic, compassionate, empathetic energy, and especially with Mercury, this is like somebody, you know, that you're having a conversation with about your feelings, and they like really genuinely care, and they're like really trying to help you with it. This is very strong counseling energy, and people could be very caught in the magic today also. This is a very magical, like I said, like magical daydream, like fantasy, idealistic type of energy. For better or worse. Again, people could very much be sort of wallowing in their own misery, but the higher end of this energy is really being immersed in the spiritual magic and, you know, seeing through, or seeing like the invisible around us in a much more tangible way. So on Saturday, we're very much under a spell of our own making, the spell of our own imagination, coloring a lot of our perception of reality and our experience throughout the day on Saturday. Now, moving into Sunday, Saturday is probably a bit of a just more carefree day, I guess we could say, than Sunday. Sunday, the moon has moved into the sign of Aries and will come into alignment with Chiron in square to the sun, and this square is drawing closer as well. So now we've got the emotions, you know, really aligning with that Chiron energy in the square to the sun. Raw, vulnerable, things to do with value, worth, wealth, victimhood, victim complexes, again, could really be kind of like coloring a lot of what we've got going on, and issues to do with healing as well. We've also got Mercury exactly in the trine with Neptune in the energy on Sunday. So we've maxed out on Saturday. We had the moon in the conjunction to Neptune in a basically exact trine to Mercury. By the time we get into Sunday, the Mercury Neptune trine has come exact, and we've got the moon with Chiron in this very close square to the sun. I will say the highest octave of this energy releases wounding, releases victimhood through divine inspiration, spiritual understanding, and mental and emotional transcendence. The lowest octave of this energy engages in escapism and avoidance and indulges in victimhood that is all consuming. So are we drowning in our pain, you guys? Very crucial for Sunday. Or are we allowing the emotions that are coming through to cleanse and purify our soul in the spiritual waters of the divine? Are we drowning in our own misery, or are we surrendering to the process and allowing ourselves to be released from the miseries and the victimhood of the past? Sort of the two choices that we're looking at. We're talking about Mercury, again, dualities. We're talking about Pisces and Neptune, again, dualities. Surrendering to the divine or shutting it out. Either way, either approach that we are consciously choosing in this energy, whether we are, you know, avoiding it or being receptive to it, the assignment now is to heal, release, and elevate. So whether we're doing it willingly, which will probably be a much more gentle process, or we're fighting the process and we've got to kind of go through whatever experiences it takes to make us understand, okay, what must be done. This is what's happening. And also, speaking of, you know, the Chiron-oriented, Aries-oriented nature of the day, Mars is currently ruling the sign of Aries. Now, another thing that I did not mention, Mars is ruling the position of Chiron right now. Chiron is in the sign of Aries, which is ruled by Mars. So what Mars is doing is kind of significant in terms of what is actually likely to be playing out with this Sun-Chiron square. and Mars is in a conjunction to Venus right now in Leo. This is talking about like there is likely to be a significant relationship dynamic or component to whatever is coming up in this energy. Relationships could definitely be playing a significant role in that. And Mars is at 29 degrees of the sign of Leo for the majority of this weekend as Mars prepares to shift energy, shift signs Monday, enter the sign of Virgo. This is going to be a significant energetic shift that we have moving into Monday. But 29 degrees where Mars is, 29 degrees of Leo for the majority of the weekend, a mermaid emerges from the ocean waves ready for rebirth and human form. So I feel like the position of Mars ruling where Chiron is right now in the square to the sun and also the moon on Sunday, this degree kind of says it all and describes where we're at and where we're going, rising out of sort of like the turbulent emotional waters and emotional perceptions and connections to the previous versions of ourselves and our previous worlds and our previous realities that we are rising out of, transcending out of now, ready for rebirth and this new journey and phase of growth associated with the more authentic version of self, authentic truth, value, and potential that we are discovering and that is emerging within us now, and that we are really going to be sort of urged to seize on and work with moving forward as we move through the rest of this Capricorn full moon cycle towards our new moon in the sign of Cancer, and the nodes prepare to change signs. So cheers to that, you guys, and that's what I have to say about the energy this weekend. The mermaid rising, what is it? Rising, the mermaid emerges from the ocean waves, ready for rebirth in human form. Yes, we may still be, caught in some of the currents of the past emotional complexes that have defined our reality and defined our world in the past, but we are ready to breathe fresh air. We are ready to make some major radical changes, and this is a true rebirth and redefining ourselves again in alignment with this newly discovered or recognized version of ourselves that we are coming to very soon embody and use to really create some new experiences for ourselves moving forward. So that's what I have to say about the energy for this weekend, you guys. Probably, again, it may not be the most like upbeat, optimistic weekend that we have ever experienced, but it is purposeful, and it is moving us towards something that's going to be feeling a lot better coming up here. So we just sort of need to go with it, let these feelings, if come over us or come out of us, have the conversations that we need to have, let it loose. This is energy about letting it all out, right? We don't want to, suppress or hold it in when we have water sign trines going on. So let's get some advice. Let's get some guidance. God, Spirit, Universe, what does it benefit us to know and keep in our mind as this energy is coming through this weekend? Let's see what we need to know. It says, don't envy another. Let your conduct be without covetousness, Hebrews 13:5. Remember, you cannot have that which belongs to another. Instead, wish for something very much like what the other has, but never the very thing. For the time being, be content with what you have. Perhaps things are not as they appear, and right, again, like in this energy this weekend, that could really have us caught in like a state of illusion or delusion, or what did I write? Illusion of inadequacy or of false perceptions of self and stuff like that. We don't want to attach to that. We don't want to embody that. And for whatever reason, if you find yourself feeling jealous or envious of somebody else, that is energy that we want to, allow ourselves to release as this wave comes through as well. And be content with what you have. Perhaps things are not as they appear. So that's what we need to keep in mind as we go throughout the course of this weekend, you guys. That's what I have to say about the energy this weekend. I hope you guys liked it. If you did like it, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, you guys. Share it with your friends if you think they would enjoy this type of content as well. well. Leave me comments, you guys. I appreciate you. I love you guys so much. Thank you for your comments. I really value knowing what's going on with you guys, and if you are having experiences that line up with what I'm talking about in these videos, please let me know in the comment section below. I also have a Facebook page, a Facebook group, an Instagram, and that type of stuff in my description box below. If you're interested in what I have written in this whiteboard in totality, that's I post that in my Facebook group, so that's where you can find that. And come back with me next week, you guys. Like I said, Monday, to start our week, we are going to have another big blast of energy. We have a Pluto-Mercury opposition. Things probably going to get a little bit intense. Some power struggles playing out. We've also got Mars changing signs, moving in a sign of Virgo. Major energetic shift. And then the very next day, we've also got, I believe it's Mercury shifting signs as well. And this is going to bring another energetic shift. We've got a lot to talk about opening our week, you guys. I'll be here. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. So I will see you then, everybody. Have a beautiful weekend of healing and release. And until next time, bye guys.